Amen. Oh, we can give a bigger amen to that performance. Amen. 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 Dear Pa, Nyamin Shramo. So, as we're continuing with the session, we are now at our health seminar. Our health seminar, and the topic for our health seminar is, or our health and wholeness seminar is mental and emotional wellness, counting the cost of neglect and care. And we're also going to be talking about lifestyle choices and their long-term consequences. And for that, we have two very special people who are going to be leading us. First, we have our Dr. Ellen Atapukua from Berlin Church. She's a medical doctor with a background in nursing. In Bremen, sorry. A former nurse at South Suntreso Government Hospital, Ghana. What was the one you practice? And one, my uncle said no. Yeah. And she graduated in medicine in Ukraine and currently is working at Gesundheit Nordklinikum Bremen Mitte in Germany with a focus on high quality patient care and professional development. And then we also have our Dr. Nelson. Dr. Nelson is a clinician scientist currently focusing on his scientific career. After earning his doctor in pharmacy and completing his oncology residency in Ghana, he moved across Europe to gain 2 master's degrees in Belgium and the Netherlands. So you guys can tell, not small people that are about to talk to you. He is currently a researcher with Cancer Research UK, where he's working on his second doctorate in cancer cell and molecular biology. Big terms. He has extensive cutting-edge clinical and scientific expertise, spanning hospitals, academic labs, and the pharmaceutical industry across Africa, Europe, Australia, and North America. So he's traveled and has a lot of experience. He's an emerging global scientific leader who is cooperating his skills to find the next generation of life-saving treatments. Amen to our doctors. Amen. Amen. So, without wasting any time, I would ask, I think Dr. Ellen is going to start first. I will ask Dr. Ellen to come and I will hand it over to them. Oh, they're both coming. Great.
Good afternoon. So before our dear Dr. Pokua starts, I want to just give you a brief outline of what we're going to do. So she'll start first. We take a break. I come next. But in between will be a lot of discussions. And as part of the discussions and questions and answer time, we're going to encourage the fact that we could text our questions, okay? Because not everybody would feel comfortable enough to speak to us. So we have a Slido platform open so that you could test your questions, especially because sometimes you get the question, and after the person is done, you've forgotten about it, right? So you can test your questions. What we're going to do in this, if you don't have data, I think there's a guest internet way or her, and we have a WhatsApp platform. Into one WhatsApp platform, this one, just go to, on the door at the other side, there's a code. Just scan it. You join the platform, and she would add the link to Slido. Senebeya, you would ask your questions. We will prioritize the questions now. Bisa online, What you say? And anonymous. Since you who say if you wanna say if you we just see the questions, we ask them, we answer them. So we are encouraging that. Yes, there will be opportunity for you to take the mic and ask the question, but you better say ubia the questions bebana, and it's not just questions, a better discussion. So I think our dear sister will start and. Inti enjoy anyway number na yenya way no miss questions. So thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Hello. Okay. Yeah, we have to adjust the mic. Okay. As you know, my name is Dr. Ellen Atapukia. I have already been introduced, and I'll be speaking more of English and Twi. I'll combine the both of them, and I am so happy that I stand here to talk about emotional wellness and mental. This is something that has been affecting all of us. It affects females and males. It affects everybody. Even if you are a child, you grow with it and you become different person. Before say mesha say no, me pesa wo imagine say we are kraketwa. Just a little child. Who so many emotions but no one obi no obetimi aboa wo amawate ase say who feel say we are sad, who feel say we are alone, who feel say we are confused. You reach out for people, but no one responds to you. Over time, this silence now, it makes you feel unseen, unheard, and confused. These things now, it's like say you are lost on a sea without a compass. You get the picture of it. This is called emotional neglect. This is telling us that when your partner, your friend, your family neglects you, it's very painful. It makes you feel unsafe expressing it. This tells us that everybody deserves love, attention, and reassurance. We all deserve to be seen, be heard. If you are somebody that have been through this topic, emotional neglect, or you are still going through that, I am telling you that some of us, we've been through it. We're able to survive. And so that you too, as you are going through now, as I'm speaking, you will also be able to overcome it. Excuse me. Okay. So emotional neglect is something we are hidden and it's harmful. People always overlook it. We don't recognize that what we are doing to our partner, what we are doing to ourselves is hurting us. And when you are a mother, you are a parent, and you do that to your child, remember that whatever you are doing, this child is going to grow and live with it with the rest of the life. And also, this person will also transfer it to the children. Because me neglecting me, me mami di be me so me di be also. And yes, say me no me ba, but idea you can say a hereditary. We can say obi wo emotional neglect go through emotional neglect and you ma ben ye be hunu wonimu. What are the things? My grouping into two, the behavioral and the physical one. Behavioral one, no, mostly no, those people know if feel say come all the time, didi all the time. Warning, please, and you'll be didi biana. And you'll be didi biana, you can say, or emotional neglect. Some people too, they are going through emotional neglect. They don't eat. Into obiane personality. Obo also swa wa bread when you holding for anything because life is meaningless for the person. No one is listening to the person. Obo ha oko school why you late? Debia why you late? Oni ahomeka so obeko school. Oni ahomeka so obeko akoye adwuma. Oni ne self esteem e wo low. Onim so oni gidie se obetimi aye bibi. Me dear oba dear be den na metimi aye we obu ne ho se we low. Obu also so a ye from anti so omo person be nipa. Because say me be nipa me tim no nipa ko ne mpema asem. Because I've already been neglected since childhood. So no one likes me. So these are the behavioral things that those people go through. With a physical one too, those people, they have poor personal hygiene. Because bibia amfane ho obia enye obia no behwe me omo also montare shemu no eye basa the way omo si dressing no be hu say we ni shoe ene na yi enkoyi emfane ho esusu because obia amfane ho obo ho so omunya pot belly because of excess eating. Omo ye short me pacho enye obi o ye short bia enye obi o ye short bia che say we neglected sometimes say nature. And because you don't take care of yourself, you have poor skin and hair tone. Then also because they don't care about anything, their medical whenever they have any medical problems, they leave it like that. They don't go to the hospital. They just be there. They don't care. They are waiting to die. And what can we say? Example of emotional neglect from childhood, because this is what we mostly know about it. If anybody here can give me an example of childhood emotional neglect, or do you want me to start with my examples? Okay, then I'll start with my examples. Say, wako school na wako travel exams. Na ye class wo ye 18. Oh manya dear intino mama me bebu me say no be ahe. You are so sensitive. We are so emotional. Why are you acting like a baby? Me be ayira na me su honum. E bia me pen ayira. Me best pen, me favorite one ayira. Me su a. You say I then act like a baby. You have to grow up. These kind of things now, your parents dictate, you know. This is called emotional neglect. You are neglecting because pity things. And a man akwane nyini. Na what me aka say yet one what go through emotional neglect no what me lead it to the other ones. Also ebia say why you be next say say well, you fail to failure to intervene or find solution in situation when someone is under emotional stress. when someone is under emotional stress, say obi is so stressed, say me kwatre exams, ye kwatre exams aya na yem hwehwe. I was say ye mama ben, you can do it, you can do it. Oh no. No more aka. Ye exams here dey. Ne kwatre, ko na kwatre na Korea beba, enu kwa ebe say asem no krampo. Ebe say no. Obi isu na o grieve krampa na ni nyina asoso no. Na omu emfin yen. So these are the examples of the emotional neglect that I have talked about. Maybe you can add yours later. And also, this is the childhood one. But the adulthood one could be like you and your husband, your partner is there. Then you wanted something. And maybe you wanted a promotion and you did not get it and you are grieving upon it. But your partner ignores it. There are so many things that happens in marriages that is also classified as emotional neglect. So the next is cost of neglect. What would neglecting your partner or neglecting your child? What is the cause? What are the causes of that neglect? This neglect, ignoring mental health or experiencing emotional neglect, particularly in childhood, it creates, as I said, a lasting and also intergenerational damages. So what are the cause of it? Physical health though. When you talk about physical health though, yeah. When you are being neglected of mental health, it causes chronic stress. And this chronic stress will reduce your immune system. And when your immune system is being reduced, it will lead you to various conditions. Diabetes we can say diabetes, we can say cardiovascular conditions, and we are ready to die. Yeah, that is the impact of it. Long-term psychological damage. You will be under severe depression. Also, anytime, even if you grow, anytime there is a little thing, you have PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder. You will have a recap of what has happened, and you're like, how I was treated in childhood has repeated itself again. That's PTSD. Also, you will have anxiety. So these are the long-term psychological damage. Behavioral and social issue. You don't want to, if you're a child, you don't want to mingle. You just want to be at your place. You don't want to have friends. And the adults too, they have difficulty trusting people. And some of them have emotional numbness. With that, emotional numbness is very severe because you can hurt somebody without even feeling that you are hurting that person. And the last one is the economic impact. If we have, we've been through neglect and we are going through mental sickness, this is it costs money. Yeah, we will need to be admitted in the psychiatric home. It's money for doctors, but we are getting your parents or your relatives or your family are paying the money to the doctors. We are enjoying the money, but it's not good. The government, instead of the government using those money to take care of other infrastructures, you'll be using it to take care of you in the psychiatry home. So these are the impacts of emotional neglect. The value of care. Importance of care. If we care so much for people, the things that we do, it will help us cure every condition that will come. We need to be resilient and adaptiveness. The value of care will help us to enable individual to bounce back. If we take care of each other, people that have gone through emotional neglect will go bounce back. Then they'll forget about their experiences and try to manage stress. Improve relationship. The more we get closer to people, and those people who are under those stress, they become, the bond between us will become strong, and they'll be able to open up to us. Then they will communicate and everything will be okay. Better productivity and performance. As we take care of them, they'll also be able to go to work. They will not be late, and productivity will go up, and we will be rich. Yeah. Prevention of diseases. If we take care of each other, the diseases that I mentioned, cardiovascular and the diabetes, all these things will be prevented and will be free from illnesses. The cost of effectiveness. As I said, high investment in early and cost effectiveness intervention reduces long-term economic burden on the society. So what can we do? We have to turn the tide, shifting from neglect to care. When we shift from neglect to care, excuse me. Okay, all right, thank you. When we are shifting from neglect to care, first of all, we have to break the cycle. We have to recognize emotional neglect. We have to see that it's very crucial, and also it goes unnoticed. So when you see that my child, I am neglecting this child, I have to go back and try to care for my child. Proactive self-care. We have to see that self-care is not luxury, but basic needs. Bathing and sleeping well will help us maintain our mental well-being and prevent burnout. Seeking professional help. Therapies and early interventions, they are highly effective in reversing the damages of neglect. So if we'd rather go and seek help earlier, then we prevent all these conditions. The bottom line is the cause of neglecting mental and emotional health is high. So instead of doing that, why don't we care and look out for each other, and so that we will have a better quality of life? Thank you.
For questions now. Hello. As mentioned, the two of us will be here. We will receive questions on this session. Yes, we'll take from the floor, but also, as we mentioned, on Oko WhatsApp page, where there's a Slido link, and you can put your questions there. And all the questions, it's anonymous. We don't know who brought it, so feel free, just ask questions related to this, all the problems you have, And Ebiba, our coordinators will read for us. But for now, no. Yeah, Auntie, I think we'll take this one.
How do I deal with my emotional traumas? That's the question. How do I deal with my emotional traumas?
Hello, yeah. first of all, you have to recognize that you have, it's good that you've been able to recognize that you are going through trauma. And secondly, you try to talk to somebody that you trust, not somebody that will go and say it to everybody. You can go to pastors, you can go to the church elders, you can go to anybody, your trusted friend. Maybe your friend is your mother, is the best. Talk to somebody. Then the next one, if it's not helping, you go to the hospital, seek a psychiatric help. Yeah.
Can I add up? Yeah, and beyond that, and so I think the other side is the people, these people come to us, and let's be sensitive to say, for other brothers, pastors, elders, we should be close enough to people, because people would open up when they feel you know them, you see them, you trust them. Yes, you are their pastor, or you are their elder, but there's like 300 people in the church, and they are not very sure, say, unimomo enough. So I think, when we are close enough to people, it would give them the confidence to also open up and speak to us. Thank you.
Okay. If there's no question from the floor, here someone asks, what can I do as a young person when faced with anxiety? What can I do as a young person when faced with anxiety? Great. And we're also taking contributions if someone wants to say something to a question. What can I do as a young person when faced with anxiety?
Okay. We all come from a Christian home. So I would say that first you pray, second you still seek help, and thirdly, you try to overcome your fear. Whatever you are afraid of, face it. Be strong and face it, and you'll be free. Yeah, I'm done. Thank you.
Okay, contribution.
No contribution to the question, but I have a question. Yonkodo. Aha, yeah, mahamunya tensa. Yeah, so you busa question of floor. The doctors, my question has to do with looking at the different races that we have. We have the blacks, we have the white, and then the mixed race. Do we have any kind of historical hereditary in terms of child neglect? And then if we take the Ghanaian man or Ghanaian woman, if I compare ourselves here to some people in the southern part of Africa, maybe where Zimbabwe, my Zimbabwean is coming from, it seems like those in the West African context, we are more stronger in terms of dealing with fear and anxiety. But when you go to South Africa, it's not like that. So are we negating the way our parents were treating us, how they wanted us to move ahead and force, as compared to even the European context? Can you talk about this contest, these two contests, and how do you also maybe relate to these two issues that I'm talking about?
Okay. Thank you. Okay. I'll start with this. So, to the best of our knowledge, or to the best of my knowledge, it's not entirely bad. There are things we do in our culture that helps us, make us quite resilient and handle issues. So if you look at the rate of depression and other things, it's worse in the Western world as compared to us. So indeed, there are things that gives us the environment. At least we have family, there's church, you can talk to people and everything. But it's always not good also, because usually, as she described to us, in our context, we neglect our emotions. And it seems to be normal. It becomes the norm because that's what we know. Our parents don't really care about the emotional part, not because they deliberately don't do that, but sometimes they are not even aware there's that aspect of health. And it sometimes affects us. I think the women who bear with me, the mothers who bear with me, husbands have no idea what is called postpartum depression. They don't even know that when a woman gives birth, especially the first 2-3 weeks, she goes through a lot of depressive states that some even want to kill their own children. Yeah, they don't know. So the man will just be moving around and Mayera watch fans. But the woman is, yeah. So these are some of the things we have in our society. So in as much as they are good stuff and there are things we can learn from and praise, there are also things we need to raise awareness on. Because eventually it's also catching up with a generation and things are changed. People are getting exposed to things knowing that, okay, these things are done this way. So it's not necessary to negate some of our practices and all that, but there are things we can do way better. The way some of our parents treated us, we can be better parents. We can also help them. And the reverse is true. Sometimes we think they are our parents so they don't go through issues, but they also go through own issues. And as we grow up, as we mature emotionally, we also have to support them in that way. Compared with other races, I am not really privy to. You have lived in South Africa a bit, so you could tell us what goes on there, but I'm personally not really privy to. But in the contrast between the Western world and Africa, we are not very sensitive to emotional things, which sometimes help, but generally doesn't really help the coming generation. I think we can learn and get better at things.
To add to it, I think we have to put it on our mind that the fact that our parents neglected us doesn't mean we should do the same thing to our children. We should draw them closer. We should just turn the thing. We should make a difference in the lives of our children, and it will help us.
Can I add to the question? Can I add to your question? Sorry, but the question's here too. About us in West Africa or Ghanaians, or what? I was talking about Ghanaians, I don't know the rest, being stronger than maybe the Western people. I somehow disagree with it, because I feel like sometimes it's just because we don't have the not even the room, but we don't have even what I studied has a lot to do with language. We don't have the language to even express these things. If someone is mentally ill, but we use that also for as an insult to other, you get it. So there are a lot of things we don't have the vocabulary to actually, how do we, I don't know if there's maybe a tree expression for anxiety, but that's also like used in different contexts. So it's like we don't have the vocabulary to actually express these things. So it's not like they're not going on, but we don't know how to express them. And because of that, we also then can't deal with them, because we don't voice it out like that. So I think there is maybe a little bit, not fully, but maybe a little bit of a wrong narrative when it comes to us Africans just being stronger than the Western. And then we also have to look from it from the context, talking for our parents' generation, look at it from the context of, even if that was true, now we had our children over here. Yeah. So most of our children here are not 100% Ghanaian. Some of them are maybe not even 90%. Yeah. They are more German than they are, or from Belgium or wherever. They're more German than they are Ghanaian. So they deal with, these topics are topics that are handled in schools, and they see it on social media and everything. So not to bash our parents, because I truly believe they did what they could with what they had. They maybe just didn't have more to give to us. So I actually do believe that some of the neglect doesn't come from a place of being malicious, but it comes from a place of, I don't know better. Ignorant. They just maybe don't even want to confess that they just don't know better. That's what was done to them by their parents, maybe sometimes even worse. Because a lot of our parents, I truly believe a lot of our aunties in church are depressed. And they experience, and because depression is not only you sit there and you're sad. There are a lot of aunties that they're very loud, and just by the anger they express is, I'm not from the medical field, but sometimes I feel like there's something wrong, maybe against the one, there's something wrong, maybe even at the home. So my question would be, Kafra, no person will. My question would be, now looking at it from the context of the church, now you have so many different people coming together in one place, so many different people from different backgrounds with different issues. How do we deal with difficult people who might be experiencing mental issues, especially as youth? Because if an auntie is coming at us, I can't tell her, say, Auntie Pacho, maybe we're depression. I can't tell her that maybe Auntie Pacho, is everything okay at your home? that would be seen as I'm a child and mimbuadie. So how do I deal with maybe an older person who is reacting out of whatever they're going through mentally, and I'm just getting the output of that?
Okay, I would also still say that best thing is for you to talk to somebody who is closer to that auntie of yours. That auntie of yours, so that that person can sit the auntie down. That is the respectable way of dealing with certain. Because you cannot go straight and say that, and the moment you say it, it's really classified as an insult. So best is go to the auntie, the other auntie, or it's somebody closer to the person. Obi a neferefo. Now what they are then they will try to help the person. Maybe there is something that the person can say to the other person.
Yeah. And I think another thing is education. So I'm happy to say the church is now sensitive to some of these things. We organize programs like this forum and many other places, because you see, one thing about emotional and psychological health is that it's quite sensitive, and people also have to admit, you see, the way you see the world, like you are normal, everything is normal, no? The same way everybody sees it. We had a program at Agogo. Pastor Kingsley Berlin was then, he was a pastor there. We went there, we went for evangelism, and he was drunk, and he was laughing. They asked him, so apparently, Ono Monsana Afani Trimono, supermarket BC ho, and what he's saying, they say, Aunt, in 30 years, Apeja supermarket now. Yes, and everybody else is hanging in the air. And to him, no, yes, and to him, no, mobe shifom. In his world, like, he is fine, and you people are in danger. So one of these things said we should be very education in Koso. The more we listen, the more we are open-minded, we realize that I probably need to, because in our culture, and a lot of things we won't admit. And sometimes even here, I speak with people. Yeah, me left. Yeah, bromiama to say I do right. And me can't share me therapy, and I'm like, man, therapy, but she thought it's a very good case for therapy. But if they wouldn't see that, yeah, bro, I almost stopped schooling. So it takes a lot of education and way for us to. So I think, say, in the church, the more we are teaching these things, and I'm happy to say the church is very open to some of these things now. We also realize, say, okay, I should tone down. And I say, I should also see people. And like she said, no, next time, based on the topic, she will also get, because, oh, and no doctor, no crab, can't say in your way. And I think it will make sense, kakra. But it's not always easy, and not everybody will probably admit they need a bit of that. But once again, we also have
kakra me de beka modern no ne say, I think in Hamburg, your church, you know, every Sabbath piano health department a year health talk, and you were one funny doctor bia ono de one amame for ne ababa for ne yiku pint or ya or kasafa about menopause and andropause.
Yeah.
Genau. Now the sa on za mame for ne bi ho no mo pe kasa tenten pa na mo kasa no da hye ho no na ka che mo se muni we mu ye we ya ebe de ebe boanti na o kan ye no education is key. Nti ebe boa asore ne pa. And then me pese me ka adeketo bi about Dr. Ellen o kan ye no say parenting neglect no, emotional neglect no. And your parents nkwa ene etimi e put at neglect and also mo e damage enkura no emotionally. Asole. Ya mama mo, ya papa mo. Obi nam ho no ma, eh na wa ye kesi o. Chale e fa ho be. Obi didi na wa ye ne kesi a. Mane ne kese nkwe. But the way ombesi aka no, eh na as a body shaming pokra ye there. Bem. Obi mo betimi aye health talk bi aka che mo say ese mutimi timoduane so e bia diabetes, but unam ho no ma why ye kese o. And so and I say watali sometimes ye kasade ena ema nipa ye denye ni je the way I yetimi ba asole no is because we find peace. And I say you peace wo honum. But obi ba asole na why kese watare wa share enye na enipa mu enye se watwe mpokura na wade wakọ baabi o enipa mu baabi ayu fufo no wo no na oka me bisa na ebu abamu esa epra akoma no enti mesre ye say ye ya ye nyini ye bai ye maame mo ye papa mo ese nka ye hwe ye kasa ye de we ye si ne fufo no anase in general ye nipa e wa so ndem ye de e kasa ndamase.
A lady in light blue.
I would like to add this to it. It's not also church, school too. Since ye nyina ye wo abotire no schools ye ko school a so be ultimate class wonkwa na ye bibini wo ho you feel say wo nkwa na wo hye ho obi anfiu me ma ko class German course na me kwa ne bibini a me wo Ukrainian mu me to kwa pa kasa ni nyina wo ka nyina ye Ukrainian. They don't even teach Dutch explanation Ukrainian. I was neglected solely mitimi coffee na me su. And you know, these are the things that you go through, no, everywhere your schools, no, so we affect us. So anytime you go to school and you feel that your teacher has neglected you, voice it out. You can tell your parents. Then they will also come and inform the authorities. So yeah.
I think before the lady comes, let's also accept or understand appreciating and yielding to your emotions is not a sign of weakness. Especially men, no, because many a time, no, we are bema say near the other, but of course, you shouldn't be throwing things around, but we should also accept when we need help and have people we can confide in. So I think our sister will bring her question.
Sister Ellen said that we who were neglected, we need to try to not neglect our children, but sometimes we don't know that it was neglect was given to us because we think that it's normal because that's how we were raised. So how do we function with that?
See, that's why Brother Dr. Nelson said education. We did not know, or my parents did not know. They never knew about it. Even as I'm speaking, it's only today that somebody is getting to know about it. So the more we talk to people about it, people will be aware of it, and we'll be able to treat our children very well. Okay. Have I answered?
Pastor, my name, but sometimes I feel parenting should be like a course, kakra. And I don't know what happens during marriage counseling, but do you touch on things like this for the couple? No, are there sessions are sorry no the shame so that either say more software and I say some more private people they can educate the couple to be about parenting and the emotional things. Meaning so bet me I can be born. Be sao and I say based on musu and so. Sorry.
We realize that we are talking about parents. Yeah. Telling you, the parents themselves have suffered emotional neglect when they were kids. Yeah. Now, yankania ededi ewo asitinamu. Parents no wa wadiemu oba no emotional neglect bi was suffer no bra na wosa no. Ebede ne ho edi wana sitin wana wadiemu. Nti wo ye nnwome bi a wonte ase. Okunu no so ono so ne wono so fam no wo ye nnwome bi wa wadiemu so mama no so mente ase. Ti eba sa wo say yeti awade mu nso asomdwe bi animu bade no yesesi na hyase ache ayare minim ay doctors mo no metuna ka ache na mesua efa diabetes mo say na diabetes anye overnight bibi kake a hyase chiri sanate. And emotional neglect, this is a very serious thing we are talking about over here. Na yesua no say boy ye nyina ma yehu se ne yensin handle ye ho. Oba no woni nukuniti odidi na tem won bonu bibia ne na chew bibia ne oba no betumi aye ne se bibi se woko mba wo body language o mudi kasa bebere be ma ne dia nso a but oba no we ya ne se ne osibesi ahwe na hafi na se ko se obesi ahwe wo no and why is enough to get you to fall down. Now but the point is that ono ankasa nyoma bi a wa famu a amane bedu bebia wedu no you have no idea. ba betumi ne bufu a ntoma no keke na wofura no opanso ya. And that in itself is telling you something. The man might get angry. But as I say, I did where you see, no, and I don't know if you me were a lot of material may you so. Now, me ya and enter matter. Now, this is a very serious thing. Emotional neglect. Abufra wepra na wapa as a senka usonmu na wupono. What are we doing? Inti yes, ya damage yankasa ansebeni no ya damage ya hwa. Inti abufu bibi ho na maybe ho ye na but we do not know. If you are with all respect, Joseph has a lot of things, but question I will be saying, so for yes, we do pastoral counseling. So we share that here. Now, when you are talking about counseling with clients, marriage, couples, you have all these. You're winning now.
Okay.
You know, I will counsel a woman. Now, you are more famous. Maybe you are now embedding tea. Ultimate form or more fat meaning name and chela woman. But I deal with you, Siano, we. And can you buy her in Quan, much as you buy in Quan, yes, you are enough. Because I best say, ya dear pa, also, Charles Amacassa, I will say, Nana 4, and Mofra, and Ma, Nana 4, or more a hinch. So, and I was saying, Enquala, when you yam and your papa. So, papa, Sabi, with all respect, say, or what should be Unumwa Enya. Or Yana Yerebas and Ina, they were Befie Winyano, a man who won't ta, but Tao papa. Now, we are papa, Nasa Winya ma wo manos and when one Casan Yanson, so one almost so. I'm some Casacha because we didn't be citizens. The more we hear about Meti Habi, a be home meeting about my boy. May that's be brave.
Questions to doors of the above.
Okay, yeah. Thanks for the opportunity. My sociology kakra misuya no. Emma mahu say ye human beings, you know, ye social animals. Enti abribia no ye hunu say ye hia nipa. Ye hia say ye ni enipa nyankita hodie. Very important. And you know, so each and every individual be a different. One kasa wo unique way be a nyakopon si bo. Enti yeti has say, you know, work on your self development and work on your self discipline. You know my yes you are emotional neglect, any emotional intelligence. Say uyo bina say one kasa work on your self development. Who say build self esteem. Who know human worth. Say uyo bia o sefata. It helps a lot. And obe buawama and no maybe wa intimate you find yourself in a class whereby you are the only black person. But because you've worked on yourself with self development, you know, in high esteem, nonti. You get to realize you don't give a damn about anybody. You don't care about whatever anybody says about you. But you know what you have. And it plays a huge role in wherever you find yourself. Ebuapa. Ana, then I'm a person me kafa African setting no. Nyamia dumu bebia ye free bano. Na senia ya sitina city no. Ni etina boom. Inti o cast child neglect in some years past Ghana no me unim say emotional e bronis anomane wo ho but din so obu say bi akora bi see comedy no ndidi ye if say in a family no society na busuafo ni nyina atwa ahia ye no aduane obi a ba be dibi ye make sure so obi a be ko nanim abrabo me nkra na ye tena se omoka anansi stories stories a ebema wan kasa no you'll be enlightened as to the world that you find yourself. Nipa ebedi ubone, nipa be haunti. No maybe why you try say ebe conscientize you. Said ebe ya ube who the world that you find yourself in. Yeah, finding yourself in this environment or in this setting. What we have to do is take this opportunity as being given us and associate yourself with God's children. Make friends of God's children. And I make a show. Yemfa yen ho namfo. Yendidi nkomo bebre. Now the world now ebeka kire yen no, we shouldn't accept it. But what we tell ourselves, you know, enu momundi hine nebe boya ma yetimi akonkasa no ma nyina. Nyame nhyira. Amen.
We have one last question before.
Well, mine is not really a question, but a suggestion or an idea. And I want to emphasize on the depression part you were talking about. I had a friend during my Abitur time in Germany, Abitur, who fell into depression because in his private life, their parents were divorced. And you can see when he came to school in the classes, he was there, but he was not there because he started smoking weed. And every day when we came to class, I mean, he was not really communicating with us or was just sitting there and listening to the teacher. And after the class, then he went home. And then one day I went to him and confronted him and asked him if everything is okay. And he said, no, I'm not really doing fine. And then I told him this is the first step, that you talk to someone and someone will also try to comfort you and help you. And then I also gave him the idea to do something against it, like being active. Me, myself, sometimes I'm not depressed or anything, but sometimes I fell into deep thoughts and think about and sit for a while. But then I started going to the gym. And my idea is that you can start something and get an interest in it and also progress in it, because for me, I like lifting heavy. This helps me when I'm in the gym. I'm thinking a lot, but it also helps me to order my thoughts. And the friend who was depressed, I started going to the gym with him, and then you can see from his face when he started, he was, ooh, AP, this is good, you can do it, blah, blah, blah. He was really happy and enjoying himself. So I would just like to suggest that if you are in your thoughts or depressed or anything, first of all, talk to someone that also has interest in you and wants to comfort you, and then also start doing something against it and get active. You can do whatever. It must not be sport, but reading a book or music or writing it down. Yeah, this is my idea.
Thank you.
So, what do we say to Dr. Ellen? For all you that wrote questions on the slide, and no worries, after Dr. Nelson's session, we will also have time for these questions. So we have it all here. Before we start with Dr. Nelson's round, I would like us all to stand up. We've been sitting for a long time. So we're gonna do a little bit of engaging and stretching. I think we all know this song. The love of Jesus, the love of Jesus is so wonderful. The love of Jesus is so oh, wonderful love. The love of Jesus, the love of Jesus is so wonderful. The love of Jesus is so wonderful. The love of Jesus is so wonderful. Oh, wonderful love. High is so high, high. You can't get over it. You're perfect. Low, so low. You can't get. And wide is so wide. You can't get right around it. Oh, one now higher, so high, higher, so it's so high. You can't get over it. It's so low. You can't get under it. It's so wide. You can't get around it. Oh, wonderful love. Amen.
Amen. Yeah, main shrine, you know. So, yeah, into Yebetwa, so as we mentioned, and at this point, I would also want everybody to bring out their phones. obia in the phone MPA. Yebeya de kakra. Mon connected to the internet. Oh, perfect. Aba. Obian connected to the internet because. Oh yeah, Aba. Thanks. We would do a bit of a quiz. It's not really a quiz. It's just to get some ideas. Answer na ya twaso. So, ehombe here say obia be connected to the internet. Obey your phone, and we will do that. We are looking at the cost of our health. What are some decisions we take now? Probably in the future, we might be happy or regret. Very important. We look at this, and we will look at this from different angles. And you understand it. Let's just stay active. For now, no. Me pese ye engage in this. You can join. Anonymous. We will know who brought what answer. You could just go to menti.com and you can and I say most ma menti.com mebo code na mamo so 42192153 bacho monskane. I would just need a few responses. If you are there, you just tell me now. I'll read the questions too, because I think, okay, people have started with exactly. But as many people as possible, now let's get on it. Code near 42192153. And Ubetimias can you get into it? Yes. In your opinion, no, what is the most important basic pillar of health? Is it emotional, whatever? Is it food? Is it sleep? Is it whatever? Just one for you. Yanyendi Pabe 57, which is good. Yeah. Okay. Let's keep them. I think food. Okay, food is good, right? Yeah. Obisi God, food. But Obia home or ha? Hello? Obia home. Okay, anyway, I'm not seeing anything like that. I see food, I see sleep, but keep them coming. Yeah. Water, peace, and identity, which is good. Dedication, all right. And me moving on, but me train kakra. Okay, I think we have enough. I think we are seeing food, sleep, God, peace, water, love, dedication, rest, nutrition. Okay. I'm seeing trust. I'm seeing air. Intin akese na woman chese nipa bebre na air opte for that. And which is all good. Nyamin shaye nyina. We move on to the next one. Oh no. Sorry. We call the next slide so. So the next one, no, the same code na was say what aspect of health disturbs you the most? Eba pomoden hon sema area bena usually how I think it's the same code. Yare wadidiemu sebi owu is it whatever it is how and I say emma that dream. What area of aspect of health is that? And it's still the same way now until you can just keep the response coming. See, I see sickness, I see sleep, I see mental health, I think. I see death, which is very valid. I see stress, overthinking. See, I see some emotional aspect. I see sports. Yeah. I think we have about 50-something response, which is very good. Cancer and TRA, fear. So I see these things reflecting. Let's go to the third one. F5 penti yenche. Third one, no. You have to rank them. Obey for but near here teacher no the better slow. Matthias, I say to abano. Rank this in order of relevance to you. Nima we no. in what order na ehu hia pa ye? Sleep, exercise, sleep, stable mental health, and social connections. Nti sɛ wodwen sɛ exercise de hia pa na what they are to one. Na ya to aso saa. Nti ebeka ni nyina bom. Nti so far ye mo bebre na ye to aba na keka bom a ye nyina stable mental health. Okay, sleep nso hia ye nti true. So what we see there no a summary of nipa be 30 something 40 something abano. Until let's keep them coming just to have a picture of what we are thinking. And I think so we customize it for our lesson. No? Okay, we have our sister, which is good. We can move on. I think at this point, Bebrena is between and a stable mental health. And Dr. Pokwa, emotional health near there, But we also acknowledge say your social connections, your family, your nana for here, and exercise and so here. We go to the fourth one, to the penultimate one. No? When you choose one, which is more important to you? Living longer, so being ache, any living healthier, and so being ache and so being with quality. Yet, yes, yeah, it's so being ache to say metusala. And as I say 60 years grandpa, you will enjoy all the 60 years na ya made be mauno. Ain't okay. So it looks like you move a quality life, right? Hello. Yeah, and I think Nipa Bebre now going for that. I think it's clear. Let's save ourselves the time and do the last one. Thank you so much for cooperating. Last one, yeah, remember. Yeah, this is the last one. And as young people, what is our honest thoughts when we hear about health? Yet healthier. Teaching mabni. And then about dream. One, it's for old people. I mean, I'm 17 years, healthy there. And two, I am indifferent, like in family home. Meet me a hoshe, say may I you may then in family home. And three, I am young, I'll consider it later. Well, me be 40 and my semaka. So no I mean you don't have to just honestly, you can't health, you be health emphasis day, temperance and health near that. As a young person here, no. What comes to mind? So I think between it's for old people and we know it's looking a bit way, but bebrena se miswa. Nti minini kakra na maeden. Ma hwe ho asem aka. I think the responses are good and Yankopon shy and I think we can proceed. Nti this is the last one. Thank you so much for cooperating. I make a beko school kakra. Ye be maths kakra and the physics kakra. Just briefly. I mean you say a see, I don't want us to, but I want us to consider something very fundamental to life. Because as we know, the world thrives on principles. And there are things we need to know and ask ourselves questions. Number one, Adena yenyini koye nim, nothing reverses. Adena se would ensue siwa, ensue emuye kama, would ensue after 3 days, ebi ane mwa start yeden. Say bon kala nebe say Adena say your friend is saying me pipa me demuna me de to me ma hokra me tu kwa banso na me bana there's dust, like things seem to go a certain direction. And we are going to look at something very fundamental, and I don't want to stress all of us so much about it. I'm just picking this to talk about something. Yeah, physics kakra, yeah, chemistry kakra, and we learn a few things about the laws of thermodynamics. 4 of them. Yeah, 9. Mienu baku yenimpa, which is the first law. Your friend know the law of conservation of energy. Or see, energy can neither be created nor destroyed. Yes. Now there's a second law. Say in a system, and I say in the universe, the total entropy always increases. Meaning say sakasakaye and I say basabasaye. Destruction it will be asimono. Dana economy. And this is very fundamental to physics and chemistry. Of course, these laws were established, I believe, after sin. Of course, we're talking about our world now. bibia ye bia no da ne da no bibia pese essay bibia pese eye sakasaka bibia pese be ye din gise wumie wani e the force bi e kan sa de na nsa na de na yeden aye din aye very orderly enti obehun se da bia opese sakasaka ye no ekosro. Let's get this clearly. Meaning say everything in our lives, if we talked about finances, we talked about everything, you need to apply a level of discipline. You need to put in some effort because it's a fundamental law say one shot then see na ujai to kwa. Naturally, no, a best start I say it would lead to distraction. I say bibi sabesi. So I'm going to show you a video of insio or the ice cube etoha. Eventually, a bear absorb heat. I start I melty. Unless you put an energy, what the chef fridge mo. Send a bear the molecules no. A solid, not ice am just so we have an idea. No, this is how it looks like. So this is just a little video. Send ye insio edane ice. Until the insio to her, it's just moving around. Until it may flow any direction. But you have to apply energy. And so now these things will become very stable. And so now ice, cube. You need to put in a level of effort, a level of discipline, energy to get things done. Else, naturally, no, there's a fundamental law say, bibia ebese. And I believe strongly, say Yankopo now boy, he understands this. And to open Bible now, Osha John 20, verse 8, 7 actually. O started from 1 now. O see Yesu nyane no asua for me no Peter din. John ankasa money din. Omo dimirika dey. Man be kan omo dimirika ekobodana no. O so di kan edru ho if say we a young person of course. Peter betwe mu ekoye. Verse 7 say Peter drew on what he saw and they say line na and I say towel na e dia cover Yesu ti no. Yesu why dey wa bobo ne kama e dia to ho. Now this is a very simple thing. But it has a very deep meaning. Minim krom ha. But ya was ni BC, we are near my school mono. People destroy properties because you're near J. You're school, yet a school entire maybe school properties. Basa basa ye. So could do traffic mo once again minim krom ha. Minim ha. But organ na traffic light a doom and I say 1 minute, baby a chaos. But after the most important victory in human history, no, Yesu Christo nyane no. One of the things eba na dream first obey obele ne bed menkanisa. And it tells us because I believe Christ understands this that orderliness. And I want to read a quote from Desire of Ages. What can be was say, but it was the Savior's hand that folded each from the quotational. Was it was the Savior's hand that folded each and laid it in its place. In his sight, who guides are like the stars and the atoms. There is nothing unimportant. Order and perfection are seen in all his work. Amen. Yankopon na ohwe atoms, ohwe stars, nyoma kesiye so, ono anso hwe ntatia ehwe atoms nyoma yehu. And bibia ne wa ehia no. Nti wonya ne ye no, abofo ebose no. The first thing I prompt in is say, let me put this in order. Implying, say, if we don't put things in order, we will reap the benefit tomorrow. And it cuts across every aspect of our lives. You can investment, a lot of other things. And it also includes our health, of course, because our bodies are made up of a lot of atoms. It comes to that. It is really very important. Say, you been noti this particular thing because you realize through it all no it is a very short trip for all of us, and I think the urgency of life is the fact that we are going to rest someday. A lot of it, because it's a very short trip. And we might think there are days we are never going to age. But I think I was here yesterday and our leaders were saying this is the 12th time we are having this camp, right? And I'm sure they remember it like yesterday, the very first time. And all of a sudden, it's 12 years already. All of a sudden, COVID happened like 6 years ago. And time keeps on going. But in between here are a lot of things. And what we want, as many of us voted, was the fact that we want to enjoy very healthy, quality, and peaceful lives until Christ comes or until we sleep in him, whichever comes first. And so we need to be very mindful. However, conventionally, we've been talking about the fact that we understand that as time moves on, we don't get to the age, like most of us die early. But if you look at the data, over the years, with advancement in healthcare system, with sanitation, with water and everything, many of us have the chance to live. So if you consider this, okay, for those that I'll just explain it to you, since you may not be able to see it, from the 17th century to somewhere 1935, the average person lives for about 30 years. Africa is the last. Unfortunately, we are always the last when it comes to this. The average person. What it means is, of course, in stats, it's not really like that, but averagely, most people don't get to a good age. Then there's been advancement in healthcare system, there's been advancement in sanitation, in transport, in a lot of things, and all of a sudden, a lot of people have a lot of chances to live longer. So it's now 2023, and the average person is probably around 60 years old. TB, as we know it, almost wiped about a third of Europe some time ago. Chickenpox, the least thing you can think of now, some time ago, was a whole disaster. So yes, we are glad things are changing. But then we need to put in a lot more effort. Now I'll still talk about the data again, what we are saying. So we can see that, and this is very recent from the World Health Organization. In fact, I took this screenshot a couple of weeks ago. So it's very recent, where the average life expectancy at birth for most people, for Africa, is like 64 years. But most people are aging, how do you call it? Are aging longer. And once again, this is stats. It doesn't mean that everybody is getting here. Some will definitely exceed, some below, but on the average. So it looks like even though individuals are not living older, like getting a longer lifespan like before, we still have a lot more people getting the chance to live longer, which is quite good. So science and everything is helping. Let's look at it. So this is our life expectancy, but what else is happening? Healthy life expectancy. So this is not just how long you live, but how long you live a quality life. You get it? There are people who can live up to 100 years, but about 50 of these years will be moving to hospitals, being on machines, you cannot walk. That's not what we're talking about. Now we are looking at how much of the life you live can you actually enjoy without stressing yourself about hospitals, about bills and all that. And I had to take that of Ghana. You go to the World Health Organization, this is there, and you realize that on the average, around 58 years, a Ghanaian will live without significant effect of his health, which is, to me, not quite good. We can do better. That implies that science is helping prolong our lives. However, the quality of the life is not as much as how long you live. So we are bringing a lot of treatments, a lot of medicines to cure and treat, manage whatever it is, a lot of diseases. But many a time, we are not looking at the quality of that life. So I would say the systems don't really care if you are spending about 20 years of your life on a machine, going to the hospitals, taking all the injections, spending all your money on something like this. That implies that we have to have a good look at the quality of our lives. I've conventionally been talking about living longer. I always talk about living longer and things to do. But this time I'm like, as young people, we also have to look at enjoying the life. Because at this point, we are struggling through schools, gaining skills in our workplaces and all that. And I think we would want to be at a point where we have our families, we want to go on holidays, we want to at least enjoy the fruit of our labor there before Christ comes. Not get to a point where we have to spend all the hard-earned money on medicines, on insurances, and automatically bring, how do you call it? We don't make our families happy. So once again, it comes to the question of the quality of health versus the quantity. Because there are things you have to do for yourself. No matter what science does, no matter the advances, no matter what your doctor does, you still have to do certain things for yourself. And once again, many a time, we think we are young and we think diseases are very much away from us. Well, that is not the case. And the nurses, the pharmacists, the doctors here, everybody who has been in the hospital can attest to the fact that a lot of young people, unfortunately, are in a lot of situations which we don't like. Many of these can be avoided. Of course, there are lots of things which are beyond us, but many things can be avoided. And like Pastor said before, just a while ago, that he recently learned that diabetes takes a lot of years. And it's not just diabetes. In fact, almost every chronic disease takes a long time. Cancers and all these takes years. So friends, the diabetes you are going to get at age 60 is starting now. The hypertension, whatever it is you are getting at age 50, is starting when you are 20 years old. Because the body does a lot of things to compensate. And we accumulate a lot of things to exceed these compensatory mechanisms until disease finally manifests. So I always tell people that before you stand in the church, I always say this, and people from Frankfurt attest to the fact, before you go for the microphone and give a testimony that I thank God for the past 10 years I've not been to the hospital before, please do a lab check. I'm not saying that we shouldn't give God glory, but diseases just don't appear. They do things to the body, something sinister you might not be expected until they finally manifest. And unfortunately, at least I know of cancer many a time, by the time they manifest, they've really done a lot of damage and we are not able to do much about it. It's so sad when we get there, but they just don't appear. They start now when we are young, when we think we are untouchable. And this is why we have to do this, because we want to be here. We want to get to the 50s, our 60s, our 70s, see our children, our grandchildren, until God calls us finally. We want to be sure that whatever we have to do here in our own capacity to live quality lives, we want to do it. I don't want to get to a point where I'm giving all my money to doctors. I want to ride good cars, right? I want to enjoy with my family, and these are very important. These will come, but as much as possible, we can avoid a lot of these. So let's work on quality. Counting the cost of this. It means you have to sit down. You have to pick your pen and paper. As the accountants say, a balance sheet. You have to balance everything. And realize that you have to forego a lot of things now, which probably is trending. People see as fun and all that for your health. You need to cut down on a lot of things. And I'll talk about 3 important things I think we can look at. Of course, there are a lot more, but 3 important things as we move on. Because you see, science can do a lot, but there's a lot science can't do also. Yeah, there's a lot of advancement. It's so incredible how people are advancing, the innovations that are coming. 2-3 weeks ago, I was in Switzerland for a conference, and I think about 2/3 of the companies are AI companies. And in fact, I had my own personal app. They created an app for me where, because I was there, but they created an app for me where the app, it looks at my face like this, picks up on the blood vessels beneath my face, checks my BP, checks everything. So now I don't even have to put anything there. Checks all these things. A lot of technologies are coming. It customizes, takes my blood samples. They do my labs, input it. I can now check for my own biological age, my metabolism, everything. My sleep, everything. Anytime I sleep, I wake up to work, it detects it automatically. And people are customizing this. People are advancing a lot, and which is also very helpful for all of us. But there are things science can't fix, because there are things you and I need to do for ourselves. Do we get it? There are certain things your doctors can't do for you. You need to do them yourself. You need to be very deliberate about it. We don't leave the Bible or Sabbath school or whatever spirituality to our pastors. No, because we know heaven is not for my pastor. Heaven is for me. We are very serious about it. We don't leave our money to the bankers only. We calculate everything, right? We don't leave our properties to the engineers and the architects. We ensure that they are building the house as it is. But why do we seem to not take good care of our health and probably just dump it on the doctor? But the doctor can't help you much unless you want to help yourself. Good friends, as I established earlier, there's a fundamental principle that in the universe, things want to be chaotic. There's always a jeer, and there's always an affinity towards disorderliness. And it takes you to reverse this. I looked at the reports from the American Cancer Association. This is just last year. This is in America, but I don't think it will be so different from other places. Unfortunately, we don't get a lot of data about us. We always get data from these people in the US and Europe and all that. And in the cancers alone, everybody is afraid of cancer anyway. In as much as a lot of the things about cancer are not in our control, we know that about a third of cancers, in fact, about 40%. So that's more like 1.2/3, or let's say 1 out of 3 cancers can be avoided when we take care of modifiable risk factors, which includes cigarette smoking, yes, and not just nicotine, not just cigarettes, the other ones, the vapes, and there's another one. Yes, all of them. Because I'm told they have flavors and it's not offensive, but it's very equally dangerous. A lot of them. In fact, if you go to any medical class or any healthcare class and they ask you a risk factor for any disease and you don't know anything, just say smoking. And almost every time you get it right. Of course, obesity, excess body weight. In as much as this is a sensitive topic and there are things we don't control, make sure that many a time you are putting up your best to keep a good shape, because it's a risk factor for a lot of diseases. Alcohol, that's another thing. And the danger is that knowledge increases, things change over time. So I know for sure that things we are learning now in the next 20 years, it will be obsolete. Until then, they told us that if you in school, they tell us limit alcohol. Of course, we don't take it, but some believe limit it. But now you go to the WHO website and it tells you that every single drop of alcohol is dangerous to the body. This is not even about the Bible. Science. Every single drop of alcohol. And in as much as we are Adventists, I know some of us, we say that, occasionally we drink. It's not to judge anybody. In as much as it's sin, it's also disturbing your health. It's harming your liver, every single drop of it. Radiations, poor diet, infections, and other things. So, good friends, let's look at a few things as we round up for this section. If I were to pick 3 very important things I would like to share with you as young people, as a teenager, as someone in my 20s, which I think I can take care of, I could master to help me live a good life, what will it be? We know some of these, but I'm just calling our attention to them. Because once again, I'm calling the principle I said earlier, that everything in the universe heads towards destruction. This is physics, this is chemistry, this is math, this is fundamental. Every single thing. Into one area, it's like that. Think about every single thing you do. One charge your phone now. You need to put in an effort to reverse the process. So the first thing, it is no wonder, because we eat every day all kinds of things. And the crisis we have in our world now is ultra-processed foods, where a lot of foods have been made for our convenience, have gone through a lot of industrial changes with a lot of chemicals, and have been rid of a lot of nutrients, giving us a lot of bad fats, a lot of sugar, simple sugars. And we eat these because these are very convenient and sweet and nice flavors. But ultra-processed foods are not good for us. Friends, as much as possible, let's learn to cook and eat from the house. In principle, you can make 80% of your foods from home. You can cook from home, take it along with you. I know what I'm saying. I'm not going to go deep into this, but a lot of diseases are linked to what we eat. Even cancer. So initially, we all thought cancers were hereditary, so from the genes. I'm not going into all that. But now we are learning that even there's metabolic aspect of it, where they don't even have to be changes in your DNA, you can still get cancer. And this is very scary. If you understand it the way I do, you see it's very scary how these things happen. And a lot of these are from our foods. Let us learn to cook and eat well and be disciplined about eating. Hello? Ekom enkunipa. Hunger doesn't kill. Hello? Let us choose to eat good stuff rather than to just consume anything in the name of hunger. Once again, there are topics about these, and probably with time, our main churches will go into details about them. But as young people, I know that we always like the very things that come as convenience, the drinks and other things, and none of these, or these are not good for us. As much as possible, let's cook our foods from single ingredient sources. We buy the fresh materials, we cook them. These are going to be good for us. Have you heard of the blue zone? Do you know what the blue zone is? Okay, so these are areas in the world where people live longer, over 100 years, a lot of them. There are 5 main areas. One is in Italy, one is in Greece, one is in California, Loma Linda. And do you know what the interesting thing about it? These people are predominantly Adventists. So this is an Adventist population anyway. One is in Costa Rica, and the other is in Japan. And they have certain principles. One thing that cuts across, being it vegetarians, being it people who eat fish or meat or whatever, is that they eat most of their foods from single ingredient food. And in fact, the Japanese have something where you eat till you are 80% full. So when they are main, obit me they are just of Phoebe. They eat till they are about 80% full. Because the body doesn't know waste. And the more things you throw in there, your body is going to handle everything for good and for bad. I don't want, for the sake of our time, but good friends, especially as teens, young people, we want to eat a lot of sweets. We want to eat a lot of drinks and everything. Let's learn to eat good food. Let's learn to eat from natural sources. Let's learn to eat at home, to eat what our parents make. The boys, let's learn to cook. It is a basic human skill. It is not for girls. It is basic. If you can eat, you can cook. Hello? Because these things are very disturbing. And a lot of diseases come up every time. A lot of things that can be avoided. The next thing I'll talk about, and even so, recently, just to mention this, the American Nutrition Something Association brought something. If you remember, those of us who learned the food pyramid when we were young, you realize that a lot of them were bread, like the carbohydrates were big at the base here. Now they've changed the whole thing. Now they advise that we eat a lot of greens and some good proteins and less of the carbohydrates and the single processed foods. And they changed the whole thing. If you remember, for those of us who, we have food pyramid, and you see that the old one, you have a lot of carbohydrates and all those things at the base, and you see vegetables and others will be very little. But now they've changed everything. Let's learn to eat a lot of vegetables. Let's learn to eat good foods, friends. Let's learn to spend a lot. And I think our brother during the finance seminar said something that he doesn't put a cap on his food, right? And he said something like that. Yes, because if we cook at home, it is healthy and we will save a lot of money and we'll feel good about ourselves. You are Nkasano. There are days you're like, this week I'm eating well. We are not going to mirror and you check yourself. Even though things don't happen overnight, but if you make changes, your body sees it. Exercise, very key. We are young, we are healthy, but we need to exercise the body. Many a time we think we exercise for weight loss. No. Exercise is just fundamental. The same way you breathe, the same way you drink. And so even before sin came, God asked Adam to take care of the garden, right? There was no disease, there was nothing. But he told him, do something, handle the garden. It is so basic. Friends, let's learn to exercise. It should be part of our lives. And you see, I was listening to Doc Bachelor. They have this session on health, amazing facts. And he said something that this is like the best health insurance you can ever have. If you don't have time to exercise, you may not even have time at all in the end. And we live here in Europe, we see the people around us. Sometimes they smoke and all that, yet they live longer. Apart from the healthcare system, they do a lot of things. They ride bikes, they walk, they do a lot of things. Good friends, exercise is very basic. Treat it like food, treat it like water. Except if you don't eat today, you feel it in a couple of days. You might die in a couple of days. If you don't breathe, you will feel it in minutes. You might die. If you don't drink water, you feel it in hours. But if you don't exercise, you feel it probably in years. And by that time, you can't reverse a lot of things. How to is different from everybody, for everybody. But it is very important while we do a form of exercise. At least we brisk walk, we ride a bike, we do something. There are different types of it. Once again, I know in our churches, our health leaders will organize and have these things. But I want us, as a second thing, to add exercise to this. I forgot about drinking water. I don't know if you follow the trend in kidney diseases, even amongst young people. Because we are not drinking a lot of water. That's one of the, of course, there are a lot of other things. But we don't drink a lot of water. I'm happy because in the teens I was there and we asked who drinks about 2 liters of water. I think a lot of guys stood up. If it's true, fine. But good friends, water is free. In fact, the truth is that the best things in life that will preserve our lives for long are usually free. Let's drink a lot of water. It is going to help our body in a lot of ways. The next thing is the current problem we have, because at this point we all have phones, we all have access to social media, all kinds of it, and there are a lot of trends, there are a lot of content, and almost every time there's something new coming up. And so we eat into the night on the series, we eat into the night on something, we sleep around 2 a.m., 1 a.m., 2 a.m., we wake up very tired, very anxious. We don't even have time to pray. We rush to school because we are almost late. Let me tell you guys something. The best thing I've done in the last couple of months since I moved to the UK is to make sure that I get enough sleep. And I promise you, I've seen a lot of difference, even for myself. As much as possible, let's try to sleep good. It will get to a time you might not be able to sleep well because you probably have children and they'll be crying at night. Those times are there. For now, learn to sleep well because our phones are distracting us a lot. The rays get into our eyes. The blue light is really disturbing and remodeling our body's biological clock. And by the way, sleep deprivation has been linked to a lot of diseases. So even when the CIA or these police people want to investigate you, they deprive you of sleep and you start hallucinating. If I'm to choose a third thing in addition to food and exercise, which we need to look at to help us live quality, avoid a lot of diseases, I'll talk about sleep. Our phones can wait. There will be much better content in the future, but you want to be there to watch it, right? Like, this is really the reality, because a lot of diseases have been linked to us not sleeping well. Physically, emotionally, even in our studies. In fact, I can't even exhaust the relevance, and I say the benefits of sleep. But on the side of health, because we want to count the cost, we want to be sure that we are ready to face the future with quality life. We want to be sure that when we become elders, we can also attend youth camp and encourage the young ones, not be in the hospitals. Yes, there are a lot of dimensions to getting diseases, but many a time we can avoid a lot of it. And most of them are free. So my good people, especially the very young ones, we are young, but we are not invincible. And if I'm able to share, if I have the time to share experiences I've had, you realize that we need to preserve our health, because that's the only thing we have anyway. And that's how we can reap the labor and everything we want to have. So these 3 things I leave you with: quality food, exercise, and sleep. These 3 things. Of course, there are a lot of other things, but these 3 things, because All studies are consistent with this. People who live for long, people who have quality lives, everything else points to this. And it starts from very young. Do we know that about 50% of all psychological diseases develop when we are teens? And by age 25, about 75% of all mental health and psychological conditions start developing. So once again, we are not invincible. A lot of things are going on in our bodies, and we need to be very careful. Because you know what, like I said, it takes all the effort. Everything else in the universe is leading towards destruction. And it takes a lot of effort and input to reverse the entire process. Thank you so much for your attention. And as I said, with the Slido, we are happy to receive questions, but I think we also take questions from the floor. So my dear Ellen will join me here, and we take this one.
So we're taking questions. If no one has a question from the floor, we have a lot of questions from the Slido that I've been told to ask. Okay. So it goes back to also Dr. Ellen's presentation. Someone is asking, in my case, emotional neglect made me independent. Is that wrong? So the person's asking, in my case, emotional neglect, probably from caretakers or parents, made me independent. Is that wrong?
Hi.
Hello?
Hi. Yeah. Eba.
I would say yes, and I would say no. Yes, because you disciplined yourself and that made you independent. And no, because you are really, really going through emotional problems and you are moving away from it and you are calling it as independence. As I said, emotional neglect, it makes you feel unsafe expressing yourself. So if you feel unsafe expressing yourself, that doesn't make you independent. It's on your mind. You are saying you are independent, but not. You are suffering.
Yeah, so I'll still go with the yes and no, as she said. So one side is that indeed, people recognize that I've been through this family and I don't want this treatment for my children. They seek help, they work on themselves, and they get better. And I think one of these things happened in the Bible. You remember between Jacob and his brother when his father told him that, well, I've given everything to your brother, but okay, right? You can break the yoke, yes. And when his brother met him, he was bringing his stuff, but he told him that, Jacob, I have enough. So yes, sometimes we recognize problems, and of course, this was more physical, but emotionally, people can work on it. But also know, because sometimes there are some subtle issues, so it takes a lot of deep reflections to recognize it. I think the truth is that nobody is truly free from emotional issues. Almost every time there's a level of it. Depends on how it hides under the radar and how it manifests in you. But it takes a great sense of awareness to recognize this. So being independent is good. Having realized that you had problems, having worked on them is perfect. However, just be mindful that there are things that could creep in from the past, and make sure that you don't pour this onto your children or your friends.
Okay. I will ask another question from Slido, and then someone is asking, what can we do if we are part of a culture that looks down on getting professional help? The question again is, what can we do if we are part of a culture that looks down on getting professional help?
Yeah, that's a big one. I think we have answered parts of this because honestly, our culture looks down on it. like you said rightly, even if you have a little psychological issue, we tag you as mentally unstable. So people are afraid to come out. One of the things we can do to help is to make the environment safe for each other. So first of all, we should be careful with the stigma we put on people. Calling people we could talk to about some of affect, and a lot of people I know have left the church because of this. Of course, this is not a good reason to leave the church, but people do anyway. And also, it could be a legal issue. So let's be mindful. People are becoming very aware of some of these things. So let's be mindful. It's happening a lot in the church where people are taking people to court. Yes. And so it's there. Now, the issue on gluttony, first of all, if the person is here and feels safe enough, you could just approach me, have a talk. But for the sake of all of us, it's a serious thing. And the whole thing comes from, right? You are supposed to get full at a point. But sometimes it depends on what you eat. So, for example, I eat a lot of vegetables and everything. I feel full, less calories. At the same time, I can consume the same amount of calories in probably a bar of chocolate or a bar of something. So at the end of the day, I'll keep on eating, chewing, but the food does not stay with me for a long time. And there's a whole hormonal thing to the body because there are hormones, ghrelin, leptin, that controls hunger, regulates things in the body. And some of these could be a bit messed up in the body. So there are levels of this. It could be also psychological, because people go through psychological issues manifest this way. But mainly, are you focusing on eating proper food? Are you eating food that fills you up? Are you eating good proteins? Are you eating good carbohydrates like potato and other things? Or you are eating sweets and drinks and everything? Because these are all aspects of it. So there are different dimensions of it. But I'll be very happy if the person sees me and we can have, one-to-one talk. So that's an aspect of it. But of course, gluttony is a sin. It doesn't help us, and it really disturbs the body in a lot of ways. So I'm happy to offer a very personalized help in this way. Thank you.
Okay, we'll take one question from the floor and then go on.
Slideshow, yeah. Okay, I'll touch on the nutrition.
Yeah.
But before then, I would like to contribute that because of sin, everything that we are experiencing is in the second phase or the second plan, which is the plan of redemption, that we find ourselves in it. So we are not in the original plan that God gave to us. And as a result of that, we have to take good care of everything that God has given to us. Other than that, we are going to end up in poverty. Yeah. You were talking about nutrition, that we have to eat good food. But in my research, I have found that currently we are eating genetically modified food. So the question that I'll ask is that, which food should I eat? Because when I came here, we have grades of foods. And when you go to spa, okay, here you don't have spa, but where I was, there's a spa here in Germany.
Here's not Germany.
Okay, in Denmark, I saw a spa in Denmark. Yeah. But we have, when you go, they have classes. We have bio. In Ghana, there's nothing called bio. Everything is bio. So here, what kind of food should I eat? Some people are feeding on genetically modified food, and I think that one is also something that is serious. And the second question that I want to ask is, should we trust science in terms of what you give to us? Because they keep on changing. Now you give us a food pyramid, and now you have changed it. So should we trust? Okay, not you, but the scientists. So should we trust science? Because if you look at it from a historical context, our old people were living in certain climates, and the kind of climate that they live in it, the kind of food God gave to them, that was what they were feeding on. But now we have given all our trust and everything to the scientific knowledge, but they keep on changing. So should we trust you? And then the last one has to do, okay, let me end it here.
Okay, so I'll start from behind. I'll do a back titration to this. Yeah, I think we can trust science to an extent. The whole thing about science and things keep on changing is because we are discovering. Do you get it? So it's not like we know, we don't know. We keep on researching and investigating. And it's not just science, it's about our policies. I mean, our social system. Sometimes the road, if they even change the roads, they change the bridges. Because with time we discovered, okay, this is better than this. Sometimes you don't know anything. There were times where when you get syphilis, they give you, they infect you with malaria, so that the malaria, how do you call it? Parasite to treat the disease. Because we had nothing better. There were times when you have headache, they put something like anything webo on your head. They hate it, and the sound, because at the time, that's what we thought the best treatment was. So things change because we keep on learning and discovering new things. But honestly, that's the part that scares me. That could it be that the things we think we know now and are committing ourselves to it are obsolete, are killing us? That's another thing. Because at a point, people didn't know. People thought that malaria was caused by something different until somebody found out. And that's a sad thing, honestly, because there are times where people even have to die before we discover things. When COVID came, we didn't know much until after some time. So that's the whole thing. And that is why I always encourage, say, am I nyare? You see? Because a doctor is not God. If we can prevent diseases, let's prevent it. Because sometimes we might have to be the scapegoat to be studied with. And even getting a single medicine to the market takes years and a lot of things there. So, and it's not just about healthcare, it's about every other aspect of science. But we know science has very much helped all of us. And if you think of it, everything here has been a product of science. This technology, our phone, the AC, okay, there's no AC, the heater, everything here. So yeah, to an extent. But that is not to say that they are humans, scientists are humans. And sometimes there are a lot of big people with their own agenda. We hear conspiracies, and sometimes some of them are true. In fact, if you heard of this, is it a syphilis? There was a study in the US with black people where they infected them with a disease. They told them that we are just studying for some time and treat you. They never treated them. They had to study them. And there have been a lot of bad situations, but there are regulations to regulate some of this. So if you've ever worked in the pharma industry, there's a lot of tight regulations. Once again, it is a human institution. And it's not just about even science. Honestly, I was telling myself, even look at our legal system. The system that is supposed to protect us. If you have money, you can go through with certain things. So once it's a human system, you can't fully trust it. So as much as possible, we should take good care of our health. I saw somebody's comment that you should take care of your health because the next doctors and nurses are now on TikTok. They're all dancing. And nobody is learning. So indeed, we can't fully trust science because it is a human institution. But the general idea is not to harm, is to investigate and help. On nutrition, genetically modified food. I can't at this point say a lot because it is not my core, expertise in nutrition and everything. But my point with the message was that as much as possible, we opt for whole foods as they are, as compared to ultra-processed foods that have been. So I'm just saying that you opt for potato over the chips, the crisps tin. You opt for meat over processed like sausage and other things. So that was the comparison I was making here. I know there are a lot of conversation and ethical conversation around genetically modified foods. And honestly, I've not done enough research to advise an opinion on. If you have, because the other thing is that anything I say here is for people, so it's to educate. I could have my opinion, but if I say anything, it gets into the head of people. So I have to be very sure to share it. I hope you get my point. And because it's not my place of expertise, I'm not in the position to do that. But mainly, I would prefer we choose food as they are, whole food as we know it, over process with a lot of chemicals and all that. Thank you.
We have a couple more questions to Dr. Ellen. Someone is asking, how do I deal with family neglect and friends neglect? So coming from this perspective, how do I deal with family neglect and friends neglect? And Dr. Nelson, someone wrote, please, in all capital letters, ask this question for me. Are we to sleep under light? If no, what is the effects?
I used to sleep under light. Yeah.
It seems this question I have answered it in a way, because dealing with family or friends neglect is, first of all, you've recognized that your family and your friend has neglected you, and one thing is you have to try and talk to somebody that, yes, I feel neglected and I need help. I think that's the only thing I can say, add to what I have said, because you have to recognize it and also talk about it. Yeah.
Okay, so on the light side, ideally no, because then if you look at the body, there's a whole circadian rhythm, and as night falls, it gets dim, the body starts making stuff. Melatonin is key to control the whole thing. Our world is changed, and over here, there are times where it's still light, even in summer and everything, so it's not entirely like that. Things are not very stable. But we know that light still prevents, especially strong light, blue light, prevents the synthesis of melatonin, and it delays our sleep. And there's a body of research, there are a lot of research that shows that in chronic diseases like diabetes, sleeping under light or having your light on for long through the night can affect these things, and increases your risk, just the risk anyway, increases your risk of getting it. So ideally, we should sleep in dim places, or no light. Of course, it's not entirely poor, because sometimes people are sleeping alone, they are scared and all that. I would probably advise get a very dim light, like your lamp, your bedside lamp, and probably keep it away in the corner where you still can see some light, your surrounding, if you are scared. But if you can, just switch off your lights. And also, if you are using your phone in the evening, that's why there's this feature of night mode. So your color will change from the blue or white light to red light, because then there's a whole physics to it. But then if you look at the electromagnetic spectrum, it has longer wavelengths, so it penetrates less into your eyes and causes less harm. So in the evenings, just switch to night mode and use more of red or amber light in the evening rather than bright or blue light. But at best, don't sleep in light. There've been a lot of studies to show that it helps you get good quality sleep, also prevents, or not prevents, but reduces the risk of getting a lot of diseases. The exact mechanism we don't know, but there are evidence to show that. So that's a short answer. If you can, just go for a dimmer option. Thank you.
Okay, and I can add it to it that the moment the light is on, even when the light is off and you switch it on, you will see that your eyes will become blurred. Then later, that is, there has been constriction of your eye, the pupil, and they are reacting. So it sends message to your brains, and your brain activity is working. So when you are sleeping under light, that means everything, your brain activity is working, and it's not helping you. Yeah.
Last question, because we only have 1 minute left. This person emphasized it again. I've heard that a baby's health can be influenced by how healthy a man's lifestyle is, even before conception of pregnancy. Could you elaborate on this?
Who? Okay.
Should I repeat it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I've heard that a baby's health can be influenced by how healthy a man's lifestyle is, even before conception of pregnancy. Could you elaborate on this?
If the person doesn't mind, can you share yourself so that we just give you a hand of applause? Because I was actually contemplating this, if I have to talk about this aspect of, it was my mind, but I'm like, okay, let me take it out. So I'm sure Nipan, okay, you don't have to stand up, but it's just interesting because I was thinking about the same thing. Yes, and we are having a lot of evidences on conception. You see, the Numa baby a good man, so, and we've not been fair to the woman, mostly because we have been quite ignorant, and I'll talk about a few things. So yes, number one, so your sperms are produced or are renewed about every 90 days. And the quality of lifestyle around the time before that can affect the quality of the sperms getting into or making the child. That's number one. So drinking alcohol and everything affects the mobility and the strength and even the chromosomes, the DNA makeup of these. The second thing is the fact that a new study, quite a recent study, showed that we've always thought that the egg would choose, the one that swims faster, right? But now new study is showing, very recent study showing that no, the woman or the egg chooses. So the motivational speakers who have been telling that, yeah, because you were fast, you were a winner, and throw. Yeah. We are now learning that you are chosen. And this is the third one, and I want every man in this room to listen. Very important. Think of pregnancy as an alien implanting into the woman's system. Because this child is a fusion of you and her, and a lot of the things the body of the woman doesn't see as her own. And also a new study, it's about 10 years ago, but it's still new, is showing that in implantation, so the process where the baby move into the uterus and settles there for the rest of the 9 months, highly, about 90% influenced by the man's health or the man's contribution to that. And this attachment can actually affect the woman's ability to get diseases like preeclampsia. So when women get pregnant, there are a lot of things that can happen out of it, diseases. And some of them can be diabetes, some of them can be hypertension. Preeclampsia is like a hypertensive state and everything. And we've conventionally thought it's the woman, but new study is showing that about 90% of this implantation is from the men. And that and that implies, no, it's really dangerous, because you see, of all the women in the world, it is one woman who has decided to live with me and handle all the things I have, the good and the bad. And I think I love her more than everybody else. Right? But because I've been smoking, I've not been exercising, I've not been taking good care of my health. And I'm so made the area man, because some of these diseases, when they get in pregnancy, after pregnancy, it doesn't go away. Not all of them. And it is really dangerous. I've been thinking about this for a long time, actually. Even today, and that's why I said this person, I don't know, but I've been thinking about this, and it scares me a bit that sister na mesi mani jene hono. Me don't see obiano. Me di area bebano, because I'm not living my health well. So for a lot of reasons, your health is equally important, and it can affect not just the baby. You were talking about the baby, even the woman. Obana on anything. So pregnancy has not been about the woman. We contribute a lot, and the quality of our lives affects them. And this is just during pregnancy, but of course, our genetics makes part of them. So we carry things to them. We bring a lot of things to them. And that's the whole thing. A lot of diseases are developing, and at the genetic stage, a lot of changes in the chromosome, a lot of things we can't control simply because our genetics. So, my guys, we do more than we think we do. And we've been quite unfair to the women because we push things on them. So yes, if we are serious about our families, if we love our children, we love our wives, we love ourselves, let's do the right things. Thank you. Okay.
Can we say a huge amen again to Dr. Ellen and Dr. Nelson? Amen. They have truly done well. So, take your time. So before we end this session, we have a couple of announcements. Dinner will begin at 6:30. They need a little bit more time at 6:30, but that is actually good because it leaves you guys now with 1 hour time. And we want you to use that 1 hour for something specifically. The preparation for the Lord's Supper and also for Sabbath. Now is the time. Because directly after we have dinner is from 6:30 to 7:30. Directly after, we will start with the communion service at 8. But between that time, that 30 minutes after dinner and the Lord's Supper starting, we're going to be washing our feet. Meaning, you don't have time. So there won't be enough if you want to participate. If you are baptized and can participate, you won't have any time to now go and do your 1-2 to get ready for that. So this is now the 1 hour that you have. So once you are done with your dinner, you go quick, put it on, and when you put it on, you go directly back to Bebe Aye Didino. That's where we're going to be washing our feet. So you go there, you wash your feet, then you quietly come here and wait until the program starts. So again, dinner at 6:30 to 7:30, and then right after that, the deacons and deaconesses will help us to set the place quick with the water and everything. You wash your feet so that we can start here punctually at 8 o'clock. So the foot washing will begin around 7:50. 7:45. Let's even put it 7:45. So it leaves you only with 50 minutes. So use this 1 hour wisely. Those that are not participating can walk directly to the hall. We will begin promptly at 8. This time we'll begin at 8, not 2 minutes after 8, 3 minutes after 8, because we have a long service in front of us and we are entering into a holy session. So we want to start promptly and on time. And how they will do it is that if you're baptized and you've washed your feet and you're participating, you will sit in the middle section. Let's leave you will sit in the middle section, and those that the front row will be left for the deacons and deaconesses. So we will gather in the middle sections, and those that are not baptized or are not participating will then fill the sides for us. That will make it easier as the bread and the wine has been given for us to, or the deacons and deaconesses to navigate it. So if you're baptized and you're participating, front here in the middle, leave the first row to the deacons and deaconesses, and those that are not participating or not baptized to the sides. We're emphasizing again the cleaning schedule for today is still Hannover, Düsseldorf, Oberhausen. Hannover, Düsseldorf, Oberhausen. Mass choir will meet briefly after this session, just to go through your 2-3 songs that you'll be singing at the communion service. So it's just a thing of 10 to 15 minutes max, so that you will still have 45 minutes to go and get ready before we have our dinner. And praise team for Suyaswemopa punctually at 7:45. So you guys need to be quick with the foot washing. You guys need to wash your feet first. Punctually at 7:45, be here and start singing some hymns, so that as the people are coming, we can enter directly into the session. We're reminding you guys again, whoever has borrowed a duvet cover, we can't stress it enough, because either way we will find it out latest when they count. Just be honest, let us know. We will figure, if we have to lay out the €12.50 for you, we will do that, no worries. Just be honest and let us know, so that we know what we're communicating with the location. And the first aid is now available in the lounge area. So if you're having any health issues, if you need anything, please see Dr. Ellen and Dr. Nelson, or if you can't find them, see Sister She, and she will direct you to them. And then again, also our WhatsApp group, please join the WhatsApp group, because the announcements are going in there. Okay, great. So not to waste any of your time, so that the mass choir can also do their rehearsal and the praise team, and you guys can get ready, I will ask Dr. Nelson to come in front and just give us a short benediction.
We are praying. Dear Lord, we ask that you bless us. Give us the wisdom to count the cost of our health. Give us what it takes to make good decisions. We ask that you be with us, you guide our path, and bless us with all the good things that living in you comes with. Thank you for hearing us, for we've prayed in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.